On this episode, Enginetech is in the garage with a killer kit. The guys are loaded with tips and tricks, and we're stoked about this striking stroker.
Hey, welcome to Motorhead Garage. Well, boy, we got a treat for you today. You know, Sam and I are going to be doing something real special. We're going to be putting together the lower end of an engine. Actually, we're putting together a stroker motor. One of the first things you want to do is get the block nice and clean. You want to have something clean to start out with. Otherwise, it goes downhill from then on. Now, what we've done is we've gone ahead and had this honed out. This block has been all nice and clean. We've had the cam bearings installed, but the final thing I like to do is, as you can see right here, take some soap and water, wash out these cylinders, make sure they're good and clean. Now I'm using just an old rag here. I'll clean these out with a lint-free rag, which is important. And once I do that, then I'll spray it down with kind of like WD-40, for instance. Spray this all down real good, let it dry, because if you don't and you just dry it off, it's going to flash rust. So this will keep that from happening. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead with this. Sam's got some other things over here. It's important to have all the right parts, and he's got them.
You know, all the right parts. When you buy a stroker kit, you get a crank and rods. If you're building a motor, even if it's a stock motor, you got to search all around. Here's a great way to go. Enginetech has a master kit, and we've got Joe Munoz here. Joe, tell us about your kit. Everything's in one box.
Yes, Sam, everything's in the kit that you may need to rebuild the engine for the typical small block Chevrolet, small block Fords. We do the big block Fords, big block Chevrolets as well. It's a complete kit that allows the weekend warrior type racer to build a small block Chevrolet, for example, up into the 325, 350 horse range without spending a lot of money. The main advantages of our kit is that all the components in it are all matched to each other. They're all insured to work with each other. You get a choice of 6 camshafts, for example, on the small block kit that all are guaranteed to work with the compression ratio that the pistons put out. The rings are matched to the pistons. It's just a complete kit and an easy way of getting through the whole rebuilding process.
When you get a kit from Enginetech, you get a high volume oil pump, you get a 3-piece double row timing chain set, coated hyper-eutectic pistons, and of course you get a choice of 6 cams, you get rings, you get everything you need, cam bearings, the whole thing. Matter of fact, you also offer performance crankshafts and rods as an option.
Yes, sir. They're not part of the kit, but what we do is we have SCAD and some other suppliers for the tailoring it to the customer's taste of different cranks and rods they can add on to the kit if they're wanting to change out the lower. And a lot of our customers are going to reuse their old factory crank and rods. This is another addition we have to the kit if they want so.
Now you supply these cam bearings in the kit. What's special about these?
These cam bearings are, we've considered the finest full circle cam bearing in the industry. They are have all the leading edge chamfers, consistent throughout the kit so for aiding in the ease of installation. It's made of a superior battery material to avoid pound out, and embeddability properties are better than most, as well as having polymer coated for ease on startup and wear characteristics.
That's great. Well, we got a long way to go. We got a lot of great stuff here. We're going to end up with a 40 over 383 stroker motor. Let's see what Davey's up to.
Okay, now we got the block all cleaned up, and what I've done, I've taken this cam lube, and I've got all the cam bearings lubed. Next step now is for Sam. You got that cam ready, buddy?
All set to go. Now, what I've got on the end of this cam, this is a little tool. It's inexpensive. You can buy them at most performance shops. 3 bolts. That gives you leverage. Keep the cam from nicking the cam bearings. That'll save you a cam bearing. Also, if you look at all the lobes, I've applied this paste. This is Cam Shield. This is enriched with zinc paste that stays on. It's what you need to do on the lobes on a flat tappet cam so you can break it in properly. Journals are clean. Dave's got the lube there. And you just take your time and insert it. Make sure that you don't nick the cam bearings. This handle really gives you a lot of leverage. How am I doing there, buddy?
Yeah, you're doing good, and you got to take your time doing that. So, okay, while Sam is going ahead and sliding that in, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we got a lot more coming, so stay with us. All right, you're doing good, man. That handle makes a difference, doesn't it?
It makes a big difference.
This edition of Motorhead Garage, presented by ARP, is being brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. Original Parts Group, the world's largest source for GMA body parts and accessories. AMS, because we care. and by Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage. We're still here in the garage having fun putting our 383 stroker motor together. Now the first thing I've done is I put all the main bearing inserts in and I put it in the rear seal. Hey Joe, take a look. Am I getting this in right?
Oh yeah, it's in the right position.
All right, now what you've got is a rear main bearing crankshaft oil seal. Part of it goes in the block and it's two-piece seal. But you know, you have a problem, and that is the crankshaft that'll run a while to get a groove on it. You can't sleeve a two-piece rear main crank because it's got a flange on it, so you'd have to have it spray welded and ground, very expensive. You come up with a great seal. Tell us about this.
Yeah, that's our two-piece double-lip Viton seal designed for small block Chevrolets. And what it allows the seal to do is ride on a different part of the crank surface. It's inward about 70 thousandths from where the original position is. So if there's a groove in the seal, this will ride on a fresh part of the crank surface, and it won't be down in the groove and weeping oil past it, as most standard position seals wind up doing.
That's really a simple but great fix. So, and this seal, by the way, is going to have some crush like a bearing, so you don't need to put anything on it when you assemble this to seal it. This will seal against itself. Now, main bearings are in, by the way, these are really good-looking bearings. Now, this is something that you have made to your spec?
Yes, this is the Enginetech main bearing set. It's a high silicone content aluminum alloy. You know, most of the aftermarket now has gone away from the traditional tri-metal bearing because the quality of the oil has improved so much that the need for the embeddability characteristic of the tri-metal bearing has gone away. The aluminum, because of the high silicone content, allows a lot greater pound out load carrying capacity, and it's less, it's more corrosion resistant than the tri-metal bearing. So it's, even though the tri-metal is still good for a lot of the heavy duty applications, we now recommend it for all automotive and light duty truck applications.
Well, cool. Nothing like having really good bearings, but you have to check the bearing oil clearance. I'm going to put the main caps on with all the bearings in it, torque them down to spec, and then I'll measure them. Dave's measuring the crankshaft.
You know, one of the things that you want to do before you put an engine together and you get a new crankshaft like we have here, or even if you got an old one, you want to check the clearances. And the way you do that, the way I like to do it, is with a micrometer. Now, some guys will use a caliper. I prefer a micrometer like this. And you need to learn how to read it. Before you start, though, you want to make sure that your mic is accurate. And they all come with a little gauge like this in order to test it to make sure that you have your mic accurate. If it's not, then you can adjust it so that it is accurate. And this one is pretty much right on the money. So we know that our measurement is going to be good. Now, what I do is I'll take it, and I'm going down here to the front. This is the main bearing. You got the main bearing races right here, 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 and here. And of course, here on the crank, this is where the rod bearings go. And you want to measure them all. So what I'll do is I'll measure it, bring this up a little bit, and then you just get it so it just touches. You just got a little bit of drag on it. And this will come with a little bit of practice. Once you get the reading, then I like to write it down and keep track of it. Once I have them all down, then I can go and compare that with what Sam is doing. But this is how you get your clearances on here, or make sure you have them. And I always like to keep that because it keeps a record of what you're doing. Anyway, this is almost all done. We'll let Sam finish up what he's doing. We're going to compare the two.
All right, buddy, I've got these all written down here, and that's looking pretty consistent.
Okay, let me take a look at it
You
here.
do the math.
Yeah, you give me the hard job all the time.
How I measured the bearings. We got all the bearings installed, and the main caps torqued to spec. Of course, everything's nice and dry. This is a snap gauge. You put it in here, and you move it around. Then you lock it. It's spring-loaded. You lock it down, take it out, take your micrometers, get in here, measure it, and it'll give you the accurate reading of the dimension of the inside of this bearing. Compare that to what you had in the crank, where we stand for clearance.
All right, so what I've done here is I've compared yours to mine. What I got is large, about 3 thousandths, down to about 2.22, 2 2/10 is what it is. So we're well within spec.
Absolutely. Need to do that's real important. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to show you a great way to check your clearance without the use of mics and the snap gauge. Also, show you how to set up crankshaft end thrust. Stick around, we got a lot to do.